Hello, good evening. Today we are going to see mental health, okay? A health problem which is not very understood by some people, right? So let's start with the vocabulary. Mental impairment. A mental impairment is a mental disability and the people are impaired or disabled. Autism. The person would be autistic. Dementia. Dementia represents a serious emotional and mental deterioration of the person, and the adjective is demented. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay, this post-traumatic stress disorder has happened with survivors of very extreme or severe situations. For example, people who have been in military combats in a war, or people who have experienced extreme natural disasters, for example, tornadoes, volcanoes. Schizophrenia. In schizophrenia we find psychotic disorders such as withdrawal from reality, delusions, hallucinations, and the person is schizophrenic. Multiple personality disorder. These people have at least two distinct personality states. Okay? Agoraphobia. Okay? People who suffer from agoraphobia are afraid to leave their homes or go far distances from their homes. Paranoia. People who suffer from paranoia have absurd ideas based on fake facts, okay? And the person is paranoid, right? So what kind of symptoms, behavior can a paranoid person show? For example, they think they are criticized all the time. So based on imaginary criticism, they have a defensive attitude. Or many times they think they are persecuted. Mood stabilizer. A mood stabilizer is a medication to treat mood disorders. Psychoactive drug is a chemical substance that affects the processes of the mind. Physically impaired people. Very good. We also have, apart from mental impairment, physical impairment. We are not going to deal with it in detail, but let's see very briefly some of the cases. For example, we've got blind for a person who cannot see, deaf for a person who cannot hear, dumb for a person who cannot speak, lame for a person who can't walk properly, muscular dystrophy, cerebral palsy, etc., etc. But anyway, let's focus on the mental health problems and let's start with the questions. What should you not say to someone with schizophrenia? For example, you shouldn't say sentences like, have you ever been arrested? Because he or she may think he's a criminal, right? Or you shouldn't say sentences like, I don't believe in mental disorders. Because he may think he's like very strange, or it's also an insult because you're saying you suffer because you want. And not only with schizophrenia, but it also happens with other illnesses, mental or physical, right? So some healthy people are a bit intolerant and not very empathetic with people who have illnesses because they are unable to understand their situations. Do you know any person with mental impairment? Well, I know some people with schizophrenia, but with a proper medication they are okay. Well, not exactly okay because they feel a bit drowsy, they feel a bit sleepy, and that makes it difficult for them to carry out their daily tasks, right? And I also know a person with a post-traumatic stress disorder, a person who lived the Iraq conflict, and I know two people with bipolar disorder as well. But with the proper medication they are most of the time okay. What kind of problems can a child with autism face in the classroom? Okay, the autistic child has difficulty to interact socially, and taking into account that the classroom is a social environment that requires a social interaction, he or she may find it difficult to communicate with the rest of the classmates, okay? Or he may feel he's unable to catch up with the tasks. So it may lead to depression in the long run, or to stress, anxiety. So maybe the best solution is to give additional learning or specialized teachers to avoid that future depression.